Hey, lacrosse friends, welcome back to Lacrosse Link. Very excited to be bringing you a couple of great interviews with Garrett Thul of the Albany FireWolves, previously of the Philadelphia Wings, and he is back in the NLL after a long stint in the Army, where he did go to school and spent some time in the Army. Very interesting interview. Also, Evangeline Rose, a member of the reigning champion Paris RiverWolves of the Arena Lacrosse League Women's Division, on to talk about the ALL Women's Division this year, about the Summer League, about the growth and the development of women's box lacrosse in general. And of course, the rundown at the end, we've got some pretty cool stories and a couple of touching things, I think, and a couple of really important things for everyone to check out. Thanks for being with us here on Lacrosse Link, your link to all things lacrosse.
Beautiful play, Aaron Gray Eyes. He is having himself a tournament. He made the save regardless of the crease call, and that shows he is at his acrobatic. In the middle, it just bounces off, but it's picked up and scored.
Welcome to Lacrosse Link, Garrett Thul. It's great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
So you were joking when you signed with the Albany FireWolves that you may have the longest time between the first and second year of a player's career in NLL history. What has been up? You're wearing the Army sweatshirt, which is a bit of a hint, but what's been up over the last, since 2014 when you played in the NLL as a rookie?
Yeah, so I'll be brief. There's been a lot of things that have happened in my life. Probably most importantly, I've gotten married and had kids and been living the dad life since 2016. But I've lived the Army life and traveled all around the country and, tried to keep a stick in my hands as much as I could from, 2014 on through about 2016, 2017. And, hung it up in 2017, I think it was. And now in 2021, I'm trying to bring it all back after I've retired from the Army and headed out into the corporate America.
And you weren't, as you alluded to, you weren't completely gone from lacrosse. You were playing in MLL, so you did play some games. It was just the NLL gap has been the 6 years or 7 years. And I think one of the most interesting things about your whole story is that you're returning to the franchise that drafted you with the Albany FireWolves. But because it has been such a gap, you actually were drafted for and played for the Philadelphia Wings. You're back to the same franchise, but you've missed the entire New England Black Wolves era of the franchise while you're off, protecting the world.
Yeah, I'm bummed that I missed the chance to play in Mohegan Sun and play with all those guys. It's been they had a pretty good run a few times there and, a good squad and a lot of the guys that I played with. So I was hoping to get the chance in 2017 or 2018 to suit back up, and some things got in the way, obviously, with the Army. But, now I've got the chance to kind of pick back where I left off, as it were.
What are you finding to be the biggest challenge getting ready to go with training camps just a few weeks away after the time off and ready to jump back in?
Well, I think the number one thing you lose with age is explosivity. So I've been trying to kind of recruit those fast twitch muscle fibers back. But, it's, just getting those game reps in is obviously something you can't recreate. But I've had the chance to suit up most of the summer playing here and there and playing with some good competition. So, hoping that, it's a seamless transition back into the game.
Where are you now that you're getting a chance to suit up?
I'm living north of Boston in a town called Swampscott. So been playing with some of the pretty competitive men's leagues here in Massachusetts since the Premier Lacrosse League didn't work out too well with me this year, but had the chance to suit up with some pretty good former pro and college guys.
And I think there are probably a lot of people who our newer fans may not remember, but back in 2014, you were a member of the all-rookie team in the NLL. You had played all 16 games, you had 21 goals, 12 assists, made that all-rookie team, and you jumped right in feet first by fighting Billy D. Smith in your very first game. And did you know really who Billy D was before you dropped the mitts with him? Because he's one of the tougher customers in the history of the league.
Absolutely. At the time, I had no clue. It was a big guy, and he got in my face, and I didn't like it. So gave him a little pushback, and I think I threw a couple of punches in there. But afterwards, somebody asked me, like, "What were you thinking with Billy D. Smith?" And I said, "Who's that?" So yeah, I was kind of that dumb American. I was also the dumb American that wore the '99 jersey and heard about that all year long too.
Yeah, that doesn't sit well with Canadians.
No, I found that out the hard way in Buffalo, of all places, of course.
Right. The other game, I mean, I mentioned that you did fight Billy D. Smith, and we're not going to just talk about fighting, but you did have another fight, and that was in one of your last games in Colorado in March. You also had a hat trick. You had an assist. You fight Chet Konechny, who is not as big as Billy D, but another just gritty guy. And I'm curious in that game. I just want to know, it doesn't list, the box score doesn't list the 3 stars. Did you get a nod? Because to me, you were pretty clearly one of the guys in contention in that game.
Well, I don't know for sure. I would hope that I did. I mean, that was definitely, I think every stat column was full for me in that game, which is kind of a rarity, especially in the assist column. But I'd have to ask an NLL historian on who the 3 stars were that game.
That's a Gordie Howe hat trick. Have you heard of that term? I don't know if Americans know that term.
I have. I was very proud of that.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I actually only found out a few years ago that Gordie Howe only had a couple of those in his career, actually.
No kidding.
And I think they were probably early because I feel like people figured out pretty quickly you don't actually fight Gordie Howe because it won't go well for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So talking to Glenn Clark, what have you, the GM and head coach in Albany, what have you heard? What are they expecting you to do to be prepared? And how do they see you fitting into the plans with the team this year?
Well, I think, I've had some conversations with, the coaching staff, and I think there's a good shot that I'll, get in the rotation on the left side there. And, I'm hoping it'll be a similar role that I had either in Philadelphia or with the U.S. team. And, I think I kind of line up as a little bit of a offensive enforcer. I'm kind of the guy that can go in and mix things up. And if I get a penalty, then no one's necessarily counting on me for all the goals in a game. So, I'd like to go in there and mix it up the same way. And I think the coaches feel the same way as well.
Very much aggressive physical game in terms of, like you said, interacting, but also driving to the net, going hard into the dirty spaces. And that's where, I mean, you mentioned the explosivity can be hard to get back. You've been doing a lot of plyometrics and things to get ready. Do you feel like it's coming and you're ready to start leaping across creases?
Yeah, absolutely. I actually, I really started a hard regimen back in January when I decided to get out of the Army and knew that I wanted to play lacrosse again. So definitely turned it back on. And I think I played in the Army alumni game last weekend, and I think everybody knows that I'm back and ready to play.
We really appreciate you taking the time to come and join us. It's been a lot of fun kind of reminiscing to your 2014 season and looking forward to your 2022 season. Is there one thing that you're excited about or nervous about or just kind of wondering how it's going to go?
I'm just excited to be back in front of fans again. I think I had a lot of fun experiences back in 2014. I grew up as a Wings fan as a kid and being in those big arena crowds. And, that's just something I've been longing for a really long time now.
Really looking forward to seeing you back on the floor. Hope to get to see you at a rink soon. Thanks for coming on, Garrett.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate you having me.
Hi, this is Jaden with Al Anderson Source for Sports. Excited to tell you that we got all our new lacrosse product in for this upcoming season. Whether you're playing box or field, our lacrosse experts are going to make sure we get you into the right equipment to elevate your game. At Al Anderson Source for Sports, we know our stuff.
Welcome to Lacrosse Link, Evangeline Rose. Really appreciate you taking the time to come on the show.
Thank you for having me.
And I was looking down at the Zoom instead of up at our camera, so I will endeavor to change that and keep my eyes on the camera so it doesn't look like I'm staring away from everyone. But it's really fun to have you on. The Arena Lacrosse League has announced its Western Division, and the East Division obviously is going again, but not maybe as much attention going to the Women's Division, which has been going for a few years and is really a burgeoning and as we're going to get into, a very important league for a lot of the women who are playing.
Yes.
Sure, I guess that wasn't really much of a question, right?
No.
No, but Evangeline, you are a reigning member of the reigning all women's champion Paris RiverWolves, and I think it's just very cool. This is what, the third? This will be the fourth year, I guess, right, for the women's league?
Yeah, it'd be the fourth year. With the last year's cut short, we didn't get to play the championships, the semis and the championships, but this will be the fourth full year.
So 2019 is the year that you and the rest of the RiverWolves won the league. I watched the final. You can go and watch it on YouTube. Check it out. Just go to JVI Sports Network and look for the Arena Lacrosse League Women's Championship, or just go to the Arena Lacrosse League page at arenalacrosseleague.com and go to the women's all division, and the link is right there on the page. You can watch the championship, and we've talked about this before, but to me the big thing for women's lacrosse in Ontario and in most places has been that there hasn't been a ton of opportunity to play. There's been people creating opportunities, but with the Arena League going in the winter and then the senior women's league going in the summer, one thing I noticed watching that, not having seen a lot of women's lacrosse for a couple of years, was the rise in the level of play, both the top end, the skill, and just the general approach to playing the game. I felt before it looked like, there were a lot of people who were learning the game and very new to it. It looks like lacrosse. I mean, that's a point that I think needs to be made, that women's lacrosse in box is very much like men's now.
Yeah, I agree. I think the extra playing time that a lot of the ladies have had, we're getting to play in the summer. We have more teams that are growing in the summer, and then with the winter league growing, and our first year we only had 3 teams. Last year we were up to 5, so we're getting more ladies out there, and the more time we have our sticks in our hands, the better we're getting, and we're getting time to actually make set plays, play offense, defense, and not just everyone run the floor. Yeah. And we're finding that even if we have a brand new lady join, they aren't detrimental to the team, because we've got enough people who are good and can bring them on really quickly. So I think it's been nice to be part of it through the journey and play with it for lots of years and watch everyone get better, and just watch the lacrosse IQ of my teammates get better. And I used to always have an issue where I remember my players could never catch my pass. I always had a really hard pass. I used to the coaches would tell me, you have to pass softer, because I couldn't catch it. And now it's the other way around. They're going, pass it harder. I need it in my stick. So it's been really nice to watch that and be part of that growth.
And it is great to see, and I hope it didn't come across as condescending to anyone listening, or because it's not meant that way, to say that the game wasn't as strong before. You put it perfectly. There was a lot of just getting used to getting over the floor and getting things going, and now the systems are coming into place, and it makes for a very fun game. Watching that championship game was pretty cool, and I thought, watching you play on the power play, and your presence inside, and then playing an inside out game. The one thing that really jumped out at me watching that game, and you and I again have talked about this, Katie DeSnoo, my goodness, she is a heck of a player.
Oh, her shot and just her ability to just deke around everyone and find the smallest hole on our goalies. And our goalies are good, but she can find them.
Yeah, you could see that in the championship, the number of saves. You're playing St. Catharines Shockwave, and the number of saves that St. Catharines goalie was making. A lot were, as usual, just being in the right place, but she was definitely getting herself in position, making the stops, and Katie would just, man, she just gets her moving. I'm trying to think of who a comparable player that people might have seen more, because there hasn't been a ton of chance to see Katie play. But I'd say get out and see her and get out and see this game. But for you, as someone, you mentioned, that people can catch your pass now. What's it felt like in terms of just the overall style of play, being able to play a more structured game? It seems to me like it would give you more opportunity to use the lacrosse IQ that you already had.
Yeah, I think that's been the big thing, is that, before it felt like you kind of had your 1 or 2 players, and it was always get them the ball and they'd barrel to the net. Mm-hmm. And now I don't have to be that person to barrel to the net anymore. I can be the one that's, running the distraction around the crease running some motion offense or setting up some plays or some picks. And it's really just about getting our players in the right place, and then we can move the ball around. And I think that's been the biggest thing, is that I don't have to go in there and, get beat up and get bruises. I can now rely on the teammates, and we can run the pick and rolls and, have confidence that we'll catch the pass and make the shot.
I have seen you play. I'm pretty sure you're still getting bruises with the style of game that you play. I think there's one great example that I think we're going to try and run on the show where, the ball goes into the corner and you go in after it in the offensive zone, and you're fighting for it. It gets knocked along the boards. You're running along the boards, chasing it. The goaltender comes out. There's like a 5-person battle for this ball. I feel like you're still going to get some bruises with your style.
Oh yeah, and I've always been that way, that nothing's going to stop me from going after that ball. And I was always good at, had the strength to do it. And I'm sure I'm going to keep doing that in the upcoming years.
So registration for the Arena Lacrosse League women's division is open now, and I know you guys want to add some more teams, a few solid teams right now. There is openings, so anything you would like to say to anyone who's thinking about signing up in terms of encouragement?
I think, I like to say the Winter League is a good place to start, because it's a little bit, we're all kind of rusty coming in from December. So this is the league. I always tell anyone who's, hasn't played for a couple of years or, is hesitant to play, this is the one to play. It's fast paced. Come and join us. We really just play weekends. Most of the time we're playing out of the ILA. With previous years, we did play a couple games in Oshawa to help some of our Eastern members, but there's so many girls who come from all over Ontario. We have girls who drive in from Wallaceburg, from Niagara, from Aurelia, from Kingston. So even if you're worried about travel, there's always going to be someone to carpool with. And the league itself, we get to play like the NLL rules. And, the big news this year that we're hoping, the men's ALL went out west. We're hoping to go out west too. And, in the future, potentially have that, national championship. So that you want to get your foot in this year, so that if we do the national championship, you can be on that winning team that's going out there.
I have been hearing all about it from Wade Thompson, I believe the commissioner of the women's division is his official role. Is that his title?
I can't remember his official role, but I believe it is commissioner. We'll say that.
He does many things for the league, puts a ton into it, and he's been talking about that, the will and desire to expand out west. And many of the Arena League teams, the winter teams, are composed of players combining from other teams from the summer. And I think one of the cool things about the summer, I actually used to help coach the Peterborough senior women's team several years ago, and then we just folded at one point, unfortunately. But since then, the league has grown so substantially. They're double-digit teams now, are they not?
Yeah, we have 10 teams in our summer league. We always have teams that are wanting to join, but we're trying to really keep our core base. So we have 10 teams. And, we've got a couple teams in the western end, as far south as London and Niagara. We have up in Owen Sound was our most recent team. We joined 2 years ago. And we have as far west as Akwesasne and Clarington, and a lot of your Toronto, Whitby, Hamiltons as well. And so, we, for example, the RiverWolves, the championship team, we had 5 of those summer teams represented on the One RiverWolves team. So it was really nice to get to play with other ladies that we don't get to play with, we play against. We got to take the top player and have us on the RiverWolves and then continue on. So it's helped both leagues really grow, the fact that we can play with each other. And, for the Winter League, it really gets us in shape for the Summer League, which follows the next month after.
And gets the sticks ready. It's not, I know it used to be in the summer league, there's a lot of the players would, finish up the season and really not pick up a stick again until the following May or June as we're starting up the season. And I think it's such a huge step to have that winter league to keep you active, keep the stick in the hands, keep the opportunities going. And I know lots of good things coming for the summer women's league. I know you're all very excited to get back out after a couple of summers of not getting to go. What are you most looking forward to when the summer is able to get going after this coming Arena League season?
I think this summer we're just hoping to have a season, right? And after last year's not, And I think, we have a lot of big, interesting news coming out. We're over 10 years. I believe last year was our 10-year anniversary of the league, and we didn't get to celebrate it. So we want to celebrate that. And, we lots of other good information coming. And I'm excited just to get to see my team and actually play with them and go for that championship. Last year, in 2019, the Hamilton team who I played for in the summer, we lost in the bronze medal game in overtime. So we want to get back there and go to the gold medal game this time.
Really appreciate you taking the time to come on, Evangeline. It's fun to talk about the women's leagues, and definitely need to get some more attention on them because it's a lot of fun and it's such a great opportunity that really wasn't there, and it's wonderful to see.
Thanks. And we're always looking for coaches and volunteers and fans. So even if you don't want to come out and play this year, come out and watch us.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks
for sticking around for the Rundown Lacrosse Friends. Really enjoyed those interviews with Garrett Thul and with Evangeline Rose. And we are now going to touch on some topics of interest in the world of lacrosse here on Lacrosse Link. We're going to start with the Sixes teams for the tournament in Sparks, Maryland coming up. It's the World Lacrosse Super Sixes event on October 23rd, 24th. And as of the recording, the US and Iroquois have announced their men's and women's teams. Still waiting to see who Canada will be rolling out for those. And that should be a really interesting one. A lot of talk about the Iroquois national men's team in particular and how loaded it is, a lot of talent. I think what's really, really interesting is to see how you mix, how the coaching staff blends them in, because you can't just send out a bunch of offensive guys. I mean, they've got the talent with Lyle Thompson and Dehoga Nanticoke and on and on. So much talent on that squad. And, you know, the big thing, though, is playing a two-way game, playing the defense. Everyone who's played the Sixes talks about it's back, it's fourth. You got to be ready. You got to be ready to get off. You got to play both ways. Lyle Thompson, I think, is one of the best two-way players in the game. Doesn't get noticed a lot because of his offensive exploits, but how do you balance those out? I'm excited to see Nungo Thompson play. I think he is going to be outstanding in the Sixes format. So we'll see how that all plays out. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and keep your eyes peeled for the Canada roster announcements. And you can check out the US and Iroquois rosters on their Twitter feeds. The National Lacrosse League season is getting closer, and we know that for reals because Panther City Lacrosse Club had a rookie camp on the weekend. They were in Brampton. They posted some pictures of Tracy Koleski, the head coach, out there with the team, working with the players, and pretty cool stuff. Follow Nathan Grennan, one of their first-round picks, who we all thought was going back to school, but a little while after the draft, he announced, nope, he is done, and he is coming into the NLL, and he is stoked about being in Panther City. He's putting out some really cool little videos before and after the weekend. I'm sure there'll be lots more going. So Nathan Grennan, to me, is a must follow to see what's coming down the pipe there. A couple of more challenging notes, but important, very important. One is go to Michael Rabel's Twitter and you will see a mental health thread that he posted. Very touching to me as someone who always struggles with mental health, and I try and be very open with my struggles and how things are going about that. But he was talking about the challenges being an entrepreneur, needing to project strength, to seem like everything is fine, you've got everything under control. When, I mean, he and Paul obviously starting a PLL, That's a big leap of faith. There's a lot that goes on. There's a lot that's out of your control, a lot that is just tons of balls in the air. And he talked about the challenges that projected or created for him. He also talked about getting a yellow lab, beautiful little critter. It is in his Twitter profile photo, and how much that helps. And I just want to give a shout out to Carrie's and my pup Millie, who's been with us for almost a year now, and she is an absolute delight. And I get it. She helps. Just taking her for a walk, just seeing how excited she is. And honestly, just trying to be as good a person as she seems to think I am is a pretty nice challenge to try and live up to. So Michael Rabel, thank you for sharing. Everyone who shares their struggles, shares their stories of mental health, thank you. And if you need help, if you're struggling, please reach out. There are people who want to help, and you matter. That is very important to remember. You matter, and you should be here. So speaking of being here, there is a GoFundMe for Emily Cox that Marshall King has started. Marshall King, who plays for the Victoria Shamrocks and the Calgary Roughnecks. And Emily Cox is girlfriend of many years, and a very touching story. She has been struck once again for the second time with osteosarcoma, which is, many people will remember, is the disease that took the life of Terry Fox. There have been a lot of advances since then. Emily's prognosis is much better than Terry Fox's was, and we all hope that she's going to come through this bout as strongly as she did the first one, but it did come back. And unfortunately, this time it necessitated the full amputation of her left leg. There are going to be all kinds of costs, and I know the lacrosse community comes together behind their members, and in this case, the life partner of Marshall King. We are going to put the GoFundMe link up on the screen, and if you can donate, please do. Just great tributes to Emily, the person that she is, and the strength and courage that she has shown. She needs a new leg and a lot of expenses to go with that. So if you can help, please do help Emily Cox. And thanks, Marshall King, for doing that for her. And we certainly hope we can help there. And finally, we're going to wrap up. Last week, we talked about Lax Salve and how they had announced they'd apologized and announced they were going to rebrand. They have come out with their new brand identity. It's called One Lax. They put a statement out. You can check their Twitter. Just look up One Lax. Probably on Insta. Just check them out. And I think it's very interesting. They have signed a partnership with the National Lacrosse League. And I said, corporations deserve second chances too, after what I thought were some not very good decisions in terms of their naming, going from Lacrosse Savage to Lax Salve. One Lax, I like the name, and they have stated very strongly that they are working with Indigenous athletes and Indigenous corporations to really support Indigenous athletes and show that they are serious about atoning for their former name and being serious about helping to support and grow the game of lacrosse, particularly in the Indigenous realm. So I'm pretty happy to see it. I think a lot of people are happy to see it, and let's hope that that continues to go well. That is it for this episode of Lacrosse Link. Thanks once again to Garrett Thul, to Evangeline Rose, to all of you lacrosse friends for being here with me, Steven Stamp, your host. It is so much fun bringing you the show every week. Thanks, and hello once again to our viewers on Lacrosse Sportsnet. We're very excited to be part of the LSN family, and we will see you again next time. Make sure you subscribe, like, follow us, share with your friends. Can't wait to see you next week on Lacrosse Link, your link to all things lacrosse.